I wasn't expecting anything in the mail that day. Just bills and maybe another coupon flyer pretending to be important. But there it was, a thick, cream-colored envelope with gold foil on the edges and cursive writing that made my stomach twist. You are cordially invited to the wedding of Anna and Michael. I stopped reading. My breath caught somewhere between my chest and throat, like a scream that didn't know how to leave my body. Anna. Michael. My sister and my ex-boyfriend. The same sister who always trailed behind me growing up, mimicking my laugh, stealing my clothes, copying my hobbies. I used to think it was just a younger sibling thing. A phase. But when she came back from her year abroad last summer, something had changed. She was bolder, sharper, hungry for something more than attention. And it didn't take her long to set her eyes on Michael. He had been mine for almost 3 years. We were serious. We talked about the future, shared holidays, planned a trip to Italy we never took. He used to kiss my forehead every morning and say, "You make me feel like home." But somehow, that home crumbled when Anna walked in the door with her perfect tan, her "I found myself" energy, and those stories from Spain and Portugal and Bali that made everyone listen like she was a goddess returned from Olympus. Michael started staying late after family dinners. At first, I thought he was just being polite. Then I noticed the little things, his phone suddenly always face down, his hesitation when I said "I love you," and how Anna never quite met my eyes anymore. The night I found them, really found them, I didn't scream. I didn't cry. I just stood there in the hallway outside my childhood bedroom, hearing the soft sounds of betrayal behind a door that used to be mine. Now, they're getting married. And they had the audacity to invite me. The invitation sat on my kitchen counter for 3 days. I'd pick it up, consider lighting it on fire, then put it down again. There was something about Anna always wanting what I had, but this wasn't a sweater or an idea for a school project. This was a person. My person. Or maybe not. Maybe if he could be stolen, he was never really mine. I didn't RSVP. I didn't need to. 3 days after the wedding invitation arrived, I packed a weekend bag and drove home. Not out of sisterly support. Not to forgive. I went home because Anna needed to be reminded, I don't vanish when I'm hurt. I rise. The house looked the same from the outside, our childhood home with its peeling white shutters and the tire swing Dad still hadn't taken down. Mom met me at the door, her eyes flickering between surprise and nervous joy. "You're here," she said, hugging me a little too tightly. "Of course. This is still my home too, isn't it?" She nodded, but I could feel the tension creeping under her skin. As if Anna's little empire might crumble just from my presence. I liked that idea more than I should have. Anna wasn't home when I arrived. Her room was still the same one we used to share, though now decorated with crystals, silk scarves, and some framed quote in French she probably couldn't even pronounce properly. I wandered in, not to snoop just to claim space. I sat on her bed, the one she likely shared with Michael now, and smiled. By dinner, the house was humming with awkward energy. Dad opened wine. Mom made her nervous stir-fry. I sat at the head of the table like nothing had ever happened. Then she walked in. Anna. Sun-kissed. Diamond on her finger. Hair in that effortless bun that screams I didn't try, but definitely took an hour. She stopped in the doorway when she saw me. Her smile faltered. "Oh, you're here." "Surprise," I said, raising my glass. Wouldn't miss the pre-wedding festivities. After all, it's not every day your sister marries your ex. The room went silent. Dad choked on his wine. Mom shot me a warning glance. Anna flushed, then forced a laugh like this was all just casual. "Michael and I are very happy." "Good," I said, leaning forward. "Then you won't mind if I help out around here this weekend? You know, lend a hand. Be involved." Her smile disappeared. Because she knew me. Knew I could charm a room. Knew I still had friends in town. Knew that her victory wasn't as clean as she pretended it was. I wasn't the heartbroken sister anymore. I was the storm she never saw coming. The next morning, I made pancakes. Not out of generosity, but because I know exactly how Anna hates the smell of maple syrup in the kitchen. I set the table with all the childhood dishes, mismatched, chipped, full of memories that belonged to me first. Dad grinned like it was a holiday. Mom seemed caught between hope and panic. Anna arrived last, in silk pajamas and a grimace hidden beneath mascara. "I didn't know you were staying," she said, buttering a pancake she wouldn't eat. I smiled. "Well, the invitation didn't say I couldn't." She didn't reply. But I saw it, the twitch in her cheek, the slight clench of her jaw. She thought marrying Michael meant she'd finally replaced me. But I was right here, barefoot, calm, owning the room without raising my voice. Michael stopped by that afternoon. I hadn't seen him in almost a year. He looked older. Not in a bad way, just worn down, like something heavy had been dragging behind him for months. He hesitated when he saw me. "Hi," he said. I tilted my head. "Still picking sisters out of a lineup?" He flushed. "I didn't plan." "I know," I cut in. "You just happened. Right?" Anna swooped in to wrap her arm around his. She didn't look at me when she spoke. "We were just going over the final guest list." "It's nearly done." I nodded. "Oh, I figured. That's why I came. Thought I'd remind you both I'm real. Not a footnote. Not a ghost." Michael looked at the floor. Anna kept her smile, but her fingers tightened around his wrist. Later, when I was alone with Mom, she said quietly, "You're being cruel." I didn't deny it. She took everything. And I survived it. Mom looked away. "You're stronger than this." "No," I whispered. "I'm stronger because of this." That night, I joined them in the living room. Anna tried to show Michael their wedding slideshow on her laptop. But when I laughed at something Dad said, Michael looked up, really looked, and laughed too. That's when I saw it. The flicker in Anna's eyes. Not jealousy, exactly. Fear. Fear that her victory was hollow. That she took something, but left the best parts behind. That I had already won the only game that mattered, who walks away whole. I left the next morning. I told Mom and Dad I have some stuff I need to take care. It must have been a relief for Anna. The week before the wedding, I returned again. No warning. Just showed up with a smile and a suitcase, like I owned the air between the walls. Mom blinked in surprise, but didn't ask questions this time. Dad just hugged me longer than he needed to. Anna was upstairs when I arrived. I heard her footsteps freeze the moment my voice floated up the stairwell. She came down eventually, dressed like she'd walked off a bridal magazine shoot, white sundress, flawless curls, earrings that screamed I'm effortless. But her eyes betrayed her. They scanned me, from my neat jeans to my lipstick, and I saw the question forming, why is she glowing? Answer, because I knew I was under her skin now. At dinner, I brought stories. Not about pain. About life. About my job. A promotion. A vacation I was planning, maybe Italy. The same trip Michael and I once mapped out, but never took. Anna choked on her wine when I said it. You always talked about Italy, Michael said softly. I looked at him, full of calm confidence. I still do. Some dreams are worth keeping. Anna stared at her plate. The next day, I bumped into one of her bridesmaids at the grocery store, Melissa, a girl we both went to school with. She hugged me like no time had passed. You look amazing, she said. Honestly, we were all wondering if you'd show up at the wedding. Oh, I'm not going, I said sweetly. But I'll be around. Just catching up with people. I knew Melissa would run that back to Anna like wildfire. That night, Anna cornered me in the hallway. What are you doing? She hissed. I leaned against the wall. Existing. Threatening, isn't it? She narrowed her eyes. You're trying to ruin this for me. I laughed, actually laughed. Anna, if it can be ruined by my presence, maybe it wasn't so solid to begin with. She opened her mouth, closed it, then walked away. Barefoot, seething, silent. That's when I knew I had her. Because this wasn't about Michael anymore. It was never really about love. It was about winning. About proving she could take what was mine and somehow make it better. But every time I smiled, every time I acted unbothered, she felt it slipping. The best part? I didn't even have to be cruel. I just had to be. The day before the wedding, I left again. On the kitchen table, I left a small, unwrapped gift. A photo from when Anna and I were kids, playing dress-up, her in a white veil, me pretending to be the groom. On the back, I wrote, "You always wanted the part one played." But it was never about the costume. It was always about the presents. No signature. She'd know it was from me. I was halfway through a peaceful Saturday morning, coffee in one hand, sunlight pouring across my apartment floor, when my phone rang. Mom's name flashed across the screen. I almost didn't answer. But something in my chest told me to. "Hello?" She was quiet at first. Breathing. Then, "He called it off," she said softly. "Michael. The wedding's cancelled." I didn't say anything. Just listened to the silence stretch between us like a taut wire. "He told Anna last night," Mom continued. "He said he couldn't go through with it. That he didn't feel right. That it wasn't love." I closed my eyes, not out of triumph, but because I could feel the tremble in Anna's carefully constructed world. The crumbling of everything she built out of spite, not affection. "She's a mess," Mom added, and I could hear the blame trying to wedge itself into her voice. "You being here, being so calm." It got to her. "He saw it. Everyone saw it. You made her look small." "I didn't do anything," I said simply. "I was just present." Mom sighed. "That's what made it worse." We hung up shortly after. No drama. No questions. Just a single truth hanging in the air: I didn't have to ruin the wedding. Anna did that herself. Later that day, I took myself out. Wore the red dress Anna once begged to borrow. I smiled more than usual. The city felt cleaner. Lighter. Like something heavy had finally rolled off my shoulders. Somewhere, Anna was likely curled up in her old bed, replaying every second of the last week. Wondering when the power shifted. When Michael looked at me instead of her. When her victory became ashes in her mouth. But I didn't need to wonder. I already knew. It was almost pathetic, really. The little red notification dot on Facebook Messenger glowed like a ghost tapping on my shoulder. Michael. A message request. He had to go that far, dig through the digital past just to find a doorway I'd already closed. I almost deleted it. Almost. But curiosity is a powerful thing, and so is the thrill of watching someone who once walked away, now chase. "I know you blocked me. I get it. But please, just hear me out. Everything's been a mess since the wedding was called off. I've been thinking, really thinking, about everything. I didn't leave her because of you, but after seeing you again, I realized how much I gave up. You looked happy. Unshaken. And I couldn't stop wondering, was that supposed to be us?" He ended with, "Can we talk?" "Just once." I laughed. Not because it was funny, but because it was so textbook. Men like Michael never realize what they've lost until the silence starts to echo. Until the woman they betrayed stops flinching at their name. He thought he could knock on my door and find the same girl he left behind. But I wasn't waiting. I let him sweat in that message request box for a full day. Then I accepted. Typed slowly. "We did talk, Michael. You just weren't listening when it mattered. There's nothing left to revisit. You walked into my past and built your future with someone else. And then you burned it down. That's not my fire to put out. Whatever you're searching for, it's not here anymore." I watched as the scene notification popped up instantly. He was waiting. But there was nothing more to say. I left the conversation open. No goodbye. No drama. Just the final weight of truth pressing down on whatever fantasy he had hoped to resurrect. Let him sit with it. Let him explain to Anna why even Facebook couldn't save him. It started with likes. Old photos of us from years ago, beach trips, Christmas mornings, birthday dinners where I wore the same necklace she later borrowed and never gave back. I noticed them in my notifications. Anna liked your photo. From 2016. From 2014. From when I still trusted her. She was digging. Not reaching out. Not yet. Just falling backward. A week passed. Then came the post. Not directed at anyone, of course, Anna would never admit defeat, but the caption told the whole story, dressed in vague sadness and filtered through a flattering selfie. Funny how people pretend to be okay. Some wounds don't bleed, they just echo. I didn't respond. I didn't like it. I just watched. Then her name popped up in my story views. Every single one. Sometimes within seconds of posting. She even watched the one of me clinking glasses with someone she didn't recognize, handsome, smiling, faceless. That one probably sent her spinning. 2 days later, she finally cracked. Anna. I just want to say. I never meant for things to end up like this. I didn't reply. Anna. You don't understand what it was like for me, growing up in your shadow. You always had everything first, friends, attention, love. I wanted something of my own. And then I saw how he looked at you. I wanted someone to look at me like that too. It was the closest she'd ever come to an apology. And yet, it still wasn't one. She wanted sympathy. She wanted absolution without accountability. I waited a full day. Then I wrote, you didn't want what I had. You wanted to be me. But now you've seen the cost of pretending. She read it. Didn't reply. Her Instagram went quiet after that. For the first time in years, there were no new posts. No stories. Nothing to curate. She was unraveling, not publicly, not loudly, but in the most Anna way possible, in silence, behind filters, with no one left to impress. And me? I kept living. Unbothered. Unreachable. The girl she betrayed. The woman she could never become. It was a Saturday afternoon. The kind of bright, crisp day that made everything feel possible. I was running errands, grocery store, picking up a few things for the weekend when I saw her. Anna. She was standing outside a cafe, talking to someone on the phone. Her hand was tucked into her purse, and she looked lost. Not in the way she used to when she was with Michael, but in the way someone is when they're trying to remember who they were before the mask slipped. The version of themselves they thought they could be. I stopped, for just a moment. I wasn't going to approach. I wasn't going to make her feel seen if she didn't want to be. But then she turned. She spotted me across the street. Her face froze. A flicker of recognition, then, the discomfort. It was subtle, but unmistakable. I didn't smile. I didn't wave. I simply kept walking, my steps steady. My heart still. I passed by her just close enough to feel the tension in the air, but not enough for her to reach out. I could hear her hesitate behind me, the air between us crackling like it always did when she didn't know where she stood anymore, but I didn't stop. I didn't turn. I kept moving, the distance between us growing. My hand brushed against the cool air, feeling lighter with every step. She was the one who would have to turn around. She would have to decide if this encounter was worth chasing. She didn't. By the time I turned the corner, I could feel her eyes still burning into my back. But it wasn't a threat. It was uncertainty. I kept walking, a faint smile tugging at my lips. I was almost home when my phone buzzed. Mom's name lit up the screen. I hesitated for a moment, then answered. The familiarity of her voice didn't settle me the way it usually did, it felt more like a prelude to something I wasn't ready to hear. Mom? I said, trying to keep the edge out of my voice. She sighed, the kind of heavy breath that made everything feel too real. I saw you today. With Anna. My stomach dropped. You saw me? Where? At the cafe, she murmured. You two crossed paths. She didn't say anything when you walked by, but she hasn't stopped talking about it. A pause. She's lost. I don't know what happened to her, but it's not the same. She's not the same. I leaned against the wall, my pulse quiet in my ears. Mom, she made her choice. We're not in the same place anymore. I know. I know, Mom said quickly, as if she'd been expecting me to say that. But you don't understand how hurt she is. She's been through so much, and now her voice wavered. She's ashamed. I felt a strange mix of pity and relief. She wanted to win, Mom. She always has. She wanted everything I had. But that's not how it works. There was silence for a beat. You're right, but, she hesitated again, as though unsure how much to say. She came to me last night. She was crying. Said she messed everything up. That she missed you. And that she just didn't know how to fix it. My heart didn't soften. Not this time. She could have fixed it. She could have stopped when she saw what she was doing. She chose this. I know. But that doesn't mean it's easy to watch. I don't know how to help her, how to fix this. She's not the same girl anymore, and I don't know who she is now. I took a deep breath, knowing the conversation wasn't over, but feeling like I needed to put my foot down. Mom, I'm not her therapist. I'm not the person she should be talking to. I'm just, moving forward. For both of us. Another long pause. I understand. But she's still your sister. I just wanted you to know what she's going through. I know, Mom. I'll keep that in mind. My voice was softer, but firm. But I'm okay. I'm okay. The line fell silent again, and I knew she wasn't happy with my answer. But she didn't push. She couldn't. I ended the call with a quiet, "Take care, Mom." I sat down for a moment, feeling the weight of it all. I could hear her in my mind, Anna's voice swirling with regret, but the truth was still simple, she had everything handed to her for years. She wanted to take mine. Now, she had nothing but the aftermath of her own choices. And me? I still had everything I needed. Still intact. Unbroken.